When I come to a city like Hong Kong, I can see what motivates me. You know, there aren't very many cities in the world like this. Cities where the buildings scrape the sky and the foundations are actually artificial, built on the sea. What we see around us is the control center for hundreds of millions of people living on the mainland China. This control center itself does not have any democratic control over it. It's governed principally by competition. One building struggling against the other. One building trying to raise itself higher into the sky. We're in a situation where there is no strong opposition, where there is no strong critique of capitalism. And that is something that this generation has had to realize and to begin trying to remedy.
Activist and art critic Brian Holmes firmly believes in using art to challenge the establishment, to question authority. He also believes artists are visionaries who lead the way. The Yes Men, for example, is his favorite group of activist artists. They pose as powerful individuals from large corporations and accept invitations to real conferences and interviews. In 2004, one of their members posed as a Dow Chemicals spokesman and appeared on the BBC, accepting all responsibility for the Bhopal chemical disaster that killed thousands.
We have a $12 billion plan to finally, at long last, fully compensate the victim.
Jude, that's good news that you have finally accepted responsibility. Some people would say too late. It's 3 years, almost 4 years.
The group aims to draw attention to issues and to expose the fallibility of corporate thinking. Other artists also set out to hack the establishment. One group views the search engine Google as a powerful example of that establishment.
Their main slogan, their mission is "Don't be evil," you know. Everybody likes Google. Every Google product is an incredible success. But at the same time, Google has a monopoly on so many strategic services. I don't think it's evil in itself, but it's very useful to deconstruct this process and to make people aware of it.
The two artists, Alexandro Ludovico and Hans Bernhard, use software to create a false impression that their hidden websites are attracting a lot of viewers. The programs often click on ads provided by Google to earn cash. Google then makes payments to the artist duo, who use the money to buy its shares. The shares are held by a company owned collectively by anyone who registers on their website. As the process continues, the company will own more and more Google stock. So far, it owns 413 Google shares, which are now worth around $250,000.
In a way, Google is giving us the money to buy it. That's why we call it Google will eat itself.
Armed with a high-powered projector and a laser beam, Evan and James from the Graffiti Research Lab want to help individuals reclaim public space, often dominated by advertisers.
It allows anybody to take a laser pointer and write whatever they want in a building, and the kind of technical way it's working is that there's a piece of software we wrote that's doing motion detection.
I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven. When I awoke,
You look around in Hong Kong and advertisers and government and big businesses, corporations, they can say whatever they want and they plaster the buildings with it. But like all these guys, you know, they really don't have that option. So the idea is that we try to bring using technology, level the playing field so normal people have the same kind of freedom of expression.
I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven. When I awoke, I spent that on a necklace. I told God I'll be back in a second. Man, it's so hard not to act reckless. To whom much is given, much is tested. Get arrested, guess until
Ingenious artist activists have used various ways to hack the mainstream system. Brian Holmes believes that revolution on a much larger scale, involving many more players, has been happening in recent years.
Usually a crowd is something that just disperses. It's people going their separate ways. But if everyone has an idea approximate idea of what should be done, and if everyone is free to decide each on their own how to do it, what you get is a highly unpredictable and yet purposeful crowd. And that's something that police have never been able to stop, and something that people find surprising and pleasurable.
A case in point is the Seattle WTO meeting, where tens of thousands of protesters showed up. Most organized themselves via the internet. Hong Kong also had similar moments when protesters mobilized themselves in 2003, and at the Star Ferry Pier and Queen's Pier protests.
The new activism has depended a lot on the internet to reach people in their isolation, to gather people from great distances, and to converge on a place where important decisions are being made.
Finally,